Yeah, I just I don't understand. I lost my train of thought. How about, like, if I just go to Mo, you want to talk about Wisconsin?
All right. I'm gonna talk about Wisconsin. It's this senator out here named Tammy Baldwin. She's gay. She's a white liberal, and I'm just being real with you. You know what I'm saying? They don't just call her Tammy Baldwin. They call her Taxing Tammy. And this woman is evil. And the reason why I'm saying she's evil because she's great friends with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton and them two are tight, and that should give you a reason not to want her in office, because Wisconsin has a meltdown because this is the first time Wisconsin have ever had a red wave when Trump have won. For real, it's been blue. But so when Wisconsin made history, and I'm so glad Wisconsin made history, but Tammy Baldwin, she got to go. I'm gonna read something that she said. She said, Tammy Baldwin said that Clinton is the most popular woman around the globe, and it's a no-brainer to support her for president. Right there, that should give y'all a green light right there to not to go ahead and vote for Tammy Baldwin. We got a guy named Charlie Barman. This is what he said. He said, "We the people. I believe the government is corrupt." He believes that. He's for the people. You know what? All you gotta do is be for the people, and I'm gonna roll with you. And Tammy Baldwin's not for the people. She's not for the people. She don't care about black community because there are murders I see here in Wisconsin. She don't care. All she want to do is, you know what I'm saying? This is the most segregated city I live in. One of the most segregated. If you look at it, this is one of the most segregated cities. So these Democrats down here, they have that same mentality as the rest of the Democrats, like, you know what I'm saying, Maxine Waters, all of them. They all want sanctuary cities. They all do. And Tammy Baldwin, she got to go. I'm letting y'all know. If y'all ain't heard of Tammy Baldwin, Google her up, and you will see what I'm talking about. Because that woman is corrupt. Her and Hillary is just like this. Her and Hillary came here. Them two are tight.
Gross.
I mean, of course, Hillary is tight. A lot of the Democrats, but them two are tight. But they don't talk about that. You know, y'all go ahead. I'm done, Rand.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot one last thing. This is the last little point I was going to make about the governor of Florida, the race. So the guy, Andrew Gillum, that's running on the Democrat side, he's the current mayor of Tallahassee. Tallahassee has the highest crime rate in the entire state of Florida since he's been the mayor. So for 4 years straight, the murder rate in Tallahassee and the crime, overall violent crime, higher than the state average. So that's another thing DeSantis is attacking him on. So, you know, if you guys come across anyone that's from Florida or anywhere in your timeline, just mention those little tidbits that I gave you. Highest crime in the whole state, socialist, backed by Soros, you know, being investigated by the FBI, you know, all these things that should raise, you know, red flags for independents and people that aren't sure where they're going to vote.
I was wondering, okay, you were saying, because I saw that video of the guy you were talking about saying that he takes money from George Soros, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, isn't that considered foreign money, and isn't that not allowed? And if so, then he was caught on tape saying that he's taken money from George Soros.
Well, I think George Soros lives in New York, so I guess he's technically a U.S. I don't really know what he is other than a war criminal. He's been kicked out of most European countries. He's been kicked out of Hungary. And you know what else? Trump called him out. This is why we all love Trump, because Trump will call out the bullshit right there. Trump called him out on Twitter and said, don't pay any attention to these screeching liberals, these people cornering people in the elevators. This is all George Soros money. George Soros is funding stuff. So that makes me think that Trump is going to try to get him kicked out of our country because he's meddling in our elections, you know, like he did in Hungary and like he did in other European countries. And he got kicked out of those countries. And now he's living here in the U.S. So I'm really hoping that whatever Soros is tied up in, and I don't know everything about him other than what he's done in the past and that he's a war criminal. But whatever he's doing that's corrupt in this country, I feel like Trump is onto it, and hopefully he can weed it out. But I think we got to get past midterms first. And maybe we can see some other high-profile arrests like, Hillary.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, are there any Democratic run cities that don't have high crime rates and drug issues and murder rates?
Right, but they have strict gun laws. They're segregated.
That's one thing that I noticed. The only liberal cities that don't have lots of crime are where they're white. And that's what kind of really saddened me when I got into politics, was that why is it only our cities are jacked up? I mean, if it's just the color of skin, then, what are we doing wrong? And that's, they always go to racism, but it's your politics. Simple as that. Just give us our money back. Let us do it ourselves, because poverty is a big indicator of crime. Obama said it himself. It's the two things, poverty and family. And it's the one thing that the Democratic Party just never seems to want to talk about. And that's basically it. Fix your politics, race doesn't matter. Plain and simple. That's it.
Yeah, you got the one in Georgia actually, like he's fighting and a lot of the gangs and things of that nature. So you got a lot of rappers and stuff like that. They claim that they don't want violence in Georgia or Atlanta, but they want to go super for Stacey Abrams or whatever the name is. Listen, I'm just voting red. I'm just getting ready for this red wave, to be honest with you. I touched up a little bit about what they're doing, but I just don't trust Democrats at all, period. Just even to a local extent, because I feel as though once they get into office, they're just going to be influenced and become people pleasers and not do what's right for people,
Okay, can I speak real quick?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Okay, I'm. So we're on question number 3. Do you believe in voting for the lesser two evils? Okay, well, yes, I believe that it's necessary, because if you don't do anything at all, you're just being complicit. So that's kind of the problem. What happened with Obama in the first place, aka Couch Commander. Everybody just got really complacent over the 8 years. And I remember, the beginning of Obama's term. And then I remember at the end of his second term, it just seemed like everybody was chilling in the couch. Everybody was hating on one another. You know what I'm saying? And it's a matter, if you're complacent, then you're just complicit to the evil in the first place. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of was skipping. I mean, we were talking about it as we were speaking, so I wasn't going to ask that question particularly, but I'm glad that you said what you said. We are on, what are some policies would you like to see changed or stay the same? Anybody?
In which state or what?
In your state, anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
I don't know. Probably just not so much gun control in California. But again, like going to Arizona. So Arizona is pretty friendly when it comes to gun control, or gun ownership, I should say. Because we've all already seen the data associated with that, with more gun control, it's actually more dangerous. There are more crimes or more murders that are committed by guns. And I think I've said this in several different places, but the only real thing that stops bad people with guns are good people with guns at the end of the day. So I think disarming people who need to have arms is not a good idea. And providing adequate training in a conducive environment where people are being trained and educated properly about gun ownership is important. Just, for safety's sake, that's one thing I would like to see out of California. I don't really know if that's going to happen. I know Arizona is a lot more friendly towards that. So, yeah.
So
Build that wall.
And what I want to see changed is voter ID. There's this guy I've been following, Mark Muser. He's running for Secretary of State, and he's been going to cities and he's been looking up locations where people are registered to vote. And according to California state law, you have to actually live in the residence that you register to vote in. And these people, their laundromats, their residences that don't even exist. I think there was a place in Malibu where 75 people were registered to vote, and there was no residence there. There was one in Long Beach where it's 23 people registered to vote at a laundromat. Well, I don't think anybody lives in a laundromat. So voter fraud has been a big thing in California that the left has constantly attacked. I mean, they've actually advocated for just stricter voter ID, and every time you try doing that, the ACLU will sue, saying that you're being discriminatory. You can't have stricter voter laws because people can't get to where they need to vote. Some people don't have IDs, and that's where California's killing the rest of us, because they're just rigging the system from voting. They're not even hiding it. And if you try to go against it, they just call you racist. It's always the color card, the elderly card. They can't get there, and it's just that alongside with illegal immigration is just it's such a big thing that you guys don't even realize. It'll just, if it keeps going unchecked, it'll destroy the rest of the country. It's in essence leading to socialism just through overpopulation.
Have you guys seen, speaking of that conservative Mexican, the whole voter ID, who's not muted? I'm getting feedback. Okay. Have you guys seen that Ami Horowitz video where he goes and he asks it's sort of like what white liberals think of black people, and he was asking them about voter ID laws, and they were like, voter ID laws are racist, and they were like, well, black people can't even afford a voter ID because they're so poor and they don't know how to get to the DMV and they have no access to internet. I'm like, damn, do they still think that we're like in Africa with like living in the woods or something? Because that's what it sounded. And then he goes, and then after that, he goes and he asks black people, he tells black people what the white liberals said. And they were like very offended, of course, but that's the whole thing about them playing, they're probably, these kids that have never really been around other people going to school. And then, this is what they're being taught in school. Anyway, you want to say something?
Yeah, I
mean,
okay.
Somebody? Anybody?
I
can go.
I got something.
Go ahead.
I got
I think
I got something I want to say. Go ahead.
I don't know, something I'm really passionate about. One thing I would love to see changed is I would love to see a radical transformation of the public education system, because the public and college too, I want them to get rid of the profit structure if they really want to put people through college, but I digress on that. But public education, we see the manifestation of that in our society with the people protesting in the streets, and they don't even know why. They don't know anything about the Constitution. They don't know anything. They have no facts. And it's because it's been so one-sided. I've always said, like, public education is controlled information, and it's just a liberal narrative constantly. Like, it's not like you're telling students, here are the facts, here's the information, here's what capitalism has done, here's what socialism has done. What do you think? Mm-hmm. It's pretty much, so capitalism is the patriarchy, Western imperialism, here's the destruction across the world, here's the socialist utopia we're pushing for. Let's read the Communist Manifesto and like that kind of stuff. I know they're not doing that in high school, but they're not teaching civics as far as I know. They're not teaching American history, and if they are, it's obviously a very left-leaning version of it. And who knows what they're saying about Trump now? Who knows what they're saying about Obama? Are they reporting it factually, or is it opinion-based? And I just think it's really important to limit school board members. School board members need term limits, right? They don't need to have political incentives when their job is to serve the students, not to get reelected and stay on the school board and become bureaucrats, because that's what it is essentially. And anything that the government runs sucks. Like the DMV, that sucks. We need free market education. I really do think the free market could solve public education. Just let it go back to the states, go back to the way it was, and then let parents decide if they want to homeschool, charter school, whatever, because I think we need several generations of free thinkers. And right now we have a bunch of hive mind group thinkers. And that's where you're seeing this mob mentality that we're trying to get a handle on. And I think the way to dig this thing up by the root is to reform education.